Given I got sidetracked by falling down the grifter hole last video and didn't get to talk much about the Shill side of things, mainly because I'm not sure how people are actually using the word and what metric they are using to apply that title to them, given so far many of the people that call people that rarely give a really definitive definition for that particular label, Shill. Unlike with grifter, where I found several videos going over what people thought a grifter was. There wasn't one for this topic, but let's use the Google definition as a baseline for that and try to figure out how that compares to how other people are using the term. Shill, accomplice of a hawker, gambler, swindler who acts as an enthusiastic customer to entice or encourage others. I'm guessing to buy a product, but it could be to watch a stream, to subscribe, many things in this day and age. Now let me start off by hinting at the most interesting example of a shill that I could find that somewhat relates to what people would call grifters that I know about. Sungrand Studios, who thought he was on a certain team that consists of a couple of people. Let someone else explain.
Content creators that I have been connected to over the past year have kept posting content based on lies and outrage, which affects my credibility as well. Who's he talking about there? Funny little nugget of information, he uploaded a video today called "Thank You Hypnotic, Smash JT, Dark Titan Enterprises, keep going," just sucking them and other people off, talking about how it felt like they were a team posting videos together.
Now, let's not go straight into why certain people think Sungrand would be considered a shill. Let's talk about those people that Sungrand was on the team for. Yeah, I went through it. It seemed rather brain dead and tedious, so I'll give you a sample of each of them talking about shills, but I don't want to waste anyone's time since I have myself. But if you want to watch that, click on the link in the pinned comment for the extended cut. Here's a bit of Veridark.
Have been from developers who are relying on things to go their way, and the future of their lives could be make or break based off of this one decision. But what I think is so funny here is, again, he's bringing up this big problem that's happening in the industry without actually acknowledging the problem. People are sick and tired of, first of all, yes, political slop. Second of all, low effort slop. And third of all, just being straight up disrespected. If he actually understood
a small section of Hypnotic.
I ain't gonna shill, bro. This fucking company took it on the chin because they themselves wanted to. They decided to go down this route. They listened to black girl fucking gamers when it came to Forspoken.
Finally, let me play most of the Smash section in full.
You're calling the person who doesn't get anything for free from anyone, who accepts no free games, no early access, no travel, no preview events,
listen
no
to how you
hardware,
talk about
no
stuff.
anything, and then saying I'm a shill, but you like for what?
Listen to how you talk about Circana and defend it.
So if something is objectively true and one defends it, they're a shill for it.
I don't believe that Circana is objectively true. That we talked, again, circular argument here. We talked about how they obfuscate numbers, misdirect, and make it seem like something's better than it is, and then far afterwards go back.
So someone gets pressed on their shill titling and they move the goalpost to someone who's saying in the industry it's the gold standard. Calling it objective might be wrong, but it's the closest in the industry that they have to get numbers from. So I don't think Smash JT is exactly the person to call other people shills, especially since he has a history of shilling for Tommy Talarico's.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one. You have been the one for me.
Skip it up, fucking loser faggot.
I put $10,000 of my own money into Republic. Now, I talked to Tommy and said I want to do that. He did not push me. He did not ask me. He was blown away when I did it. But I'm like, look, I love this thing. I want to see it succeed, and I'd love to make some money off of it if it really does blow up the way I think it might. I can make some money back on this, and that'd be a win-win for everyone. So, and it's funny because every time I talk about this thing, people feel like I'm a paid endorsement for Tommy Tallarico and the team in television, and I'm not. It's just genuinely how I feel about this thing. It's a special system, and I'd love to make some money off of it. I decided personally to put in that money because I was like, hey, Tommy took the time out of his day to show what this thing had to offer to me personally. Never forced it, never thought that I was going to do anything with it. He just wanted to show his passion to me, and I took that as so positive and so exciting. It frustrates me when they fill it with a bunch of lies and concerns that may or may not exist, because their approach is to derail this, to attack it, to tear it down, to make sure it's not successful, just for the sake of being able to say, I told you so. Why should I spend?
What I would like to see from the people they call Shills is what we just heard from Smash JT for the television Amico, because I genuinely do think this is some shill behavior. Compare that to some of the criticisms against Sungrand Studios.
For me, it ain't good enough to dick ride this company. I have no nostalgic attachment to Nintendo, but I am curious, what has Nintendo done that warrants your defense or your damage control? Because when it comes to that quote-unquote hate towards Nintendo, it seems entirely justified. What doesn't seem justified is defense of them. What, just because you like the games? Because you never grew out of Mario, that's why you'll do it? And on top of that, you'll even offer them your services in the hopes you'll get hired on while you do it.
That is in those videos, those won't be helpful. People posting video after video all week long saying Nintendo is greedy and evil, those people are making it very difficult for the important message that we need to hear, the genuine concerns that need to be heard. They're getting harder and harder to hear.
Oh my fucking God. You gotta come on. Do you really gotta make your corporate shilling so blatantly obvious like that, really?
This seems like a rather clear-cut case of corporate shilling, at least on the surface. We have direct examples of Sungrand doing this. But this is a very interesting case, so let's keep going.
I don't want to hear people call them anti-consumer. Hilarious how you started off this video saying people don't want to hear the truth. It seems to me like you were maybe deflecting there a bit. Because it seems like you're completely shut off to the truth. Because it's not nice, and it's mean, and it's hateful. Well, sorry, but sometimes the truth is just that. Those videos criticizing Nintendo are usually coming from some of their most loyal supporters, too. Well, you know, when you're watching RGT85, at least you know he loves Nintendo. You'd be hard-pressed to say that's hate content. Even then, nobody has to justify it. Nintendo has screwed consumers over numerous times. Why should anyone shy away from speaking their minds? And most importantly, why should anyone shy away from listening to those people?
Even if Rotanga isn't being nice about this, he's given direct arguments for why he believes the criticism of Nintendo is valid and why what Sungrand is doing here is an example of Nintendo shilling. And I really can't disagree with at least what's behind the sort of angry sort of rant-zona that he has on. But there's a lot more that he fucking does. But let's go back to the beginning with a harmful opinion on Sungrand. Going on the Amigo Shill stream. Sorry, former Amigo Shill. Reformed, maybe?
Probably gonna have a look at some greatest hits. Our boy Gerald was having a little chat with Smash JT the other day and came out with this incredible line to explain that he's not trying to get attention just to sell his games.
There's no ulterior motive there. The games I make are so niche and weird, and they're really just for fun.
I was speechless because his whole shtick is that he's a pro game developer. Now you're just developing them for fun, when 2 weeks ago you were saying this?
My games have to be done. That's how I earn money.
But I guess it doesn't matter whether he's really a YouTuber or really a game dev, because apparently he has a new goal in life. He wants to be the, new Sweet Baby Inc.
My long-term goal has been to position myself to where I can take speeches and do presentations in the industry so that developers and publishers have another voice to listen to. So it's not just Kim Belair.
Great, let's have Gerald, the guy who's left nothing but a bunch of broken shovelware and failed Kickstarters in his wake, advising the games industry on what they should do. I do think he could totally pull this off. There's something perfect for him to take advantage of that will get his foot in the door. I'll let the man himself explain.
This is something called DEI. It's pretty simple. It's actually just a corporate scam. What they do is they take marginalized people with mental health issues, they give them positions of power and careers that they did not earn or deserve.
From all of that, it seems like we're seeing a bit of double speak, maybe a little bit of double think with Sungrand here. But is he a shill or grifter? It's getting a little confusing here. Or just a straight con man who will play whatever side he needs to because his team, at least the one he tried to claim, seem to be very pro Nintendo for the most part and much more harsh on their competitors.
Played NES or SNES? You remember that games used to cost whatever Nintendo, Sony, or Sega felt like charging. Final Fantasy III cost $80 in the early 90s, and that wasn't at all uncommon. Oh my god, Razor Fist is back at it again, or on this channel we call him Razor Simp. Clever, I know. You can credit me in the comments. I don't understand how someone that poses as so anti-authoritarian, anti-government is so pro-corporation. So why Razor Fist wanted to run to the defense of Nintendo like a total cuck is beyond me. But it wasn't just him, because then his homeboy, Geeks and Gamers, comes in saying, yup, that's why I'm personally not bothered at all. Oh, really? Really, Jeremy? Then explain to me something. Is this you? A Nintendo Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World bundle, which includes the system and a full game download for the exclusive Mario Kart World game, will launch on June 5th. You guys aren't mentioning prices for a reason. Lol. Mixed signals here, Jeremy. What are you doing? 1 minute, here you are calling out Nintendo on their pricing, and the next you're defending it under Razor Fist's post. Why? Is it to seem cool in front of your other YouTube friend? Is that why?
But let's get a little bit more harmful opinions on this because it seems he got a DM from Sungrand.
See, Gerald got in touch with me. He DM'd me on Twitter, asked if I wanted to chat, said I could ask anything I wanted. I sent him a little softball to start with, and he totally dodged it, sent me a massive essay instead, and then said he couldn't answer any more questions. Pretty weird, and it meant I didn't get to ask him about the screwdriver story. However, he did mention to me that there is one mission he's not willing to compromise by exposing it to the world. One truth he cannot speak. I appreciate your reply and question here. I will be absolutely honest with you here, but there is a portion that I want you to keep between just here, if you don't mind. Sorry, I do mind. If you want it off the record, ask for that first. And I think people should hear this. It sounds like you actually care about the situation. The part that was one of my major objectives was this, and again, I ask you to keep this between just us. I saw growing hatred, resentment, and targeted attacks towards marginalized groups like gay, black people, women, due to the industry using them as selling points and using those groups for their games. I watched the situation and saw that nobody was doing anything to actually try to make that situation better. I tried to grow the audience as fast as possible because I wanted to deliver speeches where I explained to people, we don't need to attack those marginalized groups. They're being used as human shields by these developers and publishers. Hey guys, his actual mission is to protect minorities from you, the racist, sexist, homophobic, horrible gamers. It's not your fault though. The video games made you that way, and he needs to fix it. Remind you of anything, by any chance? Of course, I couldn't just say that was my intention to share the message with people, because then it would sabotage the effectiveness of my message. Remember, he was happy to throw everything else away. He was happy to burn you. He was happy to burn his channel. He He was happy to throw away the anti-woke stuff. Happy to throw away game dev, apparently. Oh, it's just for fun. It's not important. But he, even now, is not willing to throw away what he thinks is a shot at becoming an industry consultant to fight for LGBTQ2S+. I saw the effects of my message as I asked content creators to ease up on directing hate towards those marginalized groups. Guys, this is the final absolute ultimate truth. He promises this was all a psyop to make YouTubers less racist. My effort seemed to have an effect, so I felt I had done that job. That is all I ask you to keep between just us. If people start talking about how that was my objective, it will undo the little amount of good I was able to accomplish in that regard. Everything else he'll throw away, talk about publicly, this, hush. You and the people you watch will become more racist again, and he already fixed you. Brother, if he got into the position he fantasizes about, everything else would be the same, but the games just wouldn't run either. Now let me cool you off for a second. This is too juicy to be believed, right? Yeah, because he's a compulsive liar. Probably thinks my logo's pink and blue because of trans stuff or something, and figured this lie would work on me. Because he was, absolutely, 100%, trying to manipulate me.
Overall, the suppression of harmful opinions seems to be, on the mark. But it really doesn't fit the traditional definition of Shill. Yes, it seems like he'll play the anti-woke when it seems the anti-woke are on Nintendo's side for the most part. But when some of them, at least, are perceived to be against it, it seems he flips and uses every excuse he can to protect Nintendo to an insane degree. Now, has any of this really taught us about what a shill is? Well, maybe, at least at the YouTube influencer level. And if we take anything away from this, we can say that these people will join the greatest force against what they're shilling for. At least if there seems to be an opportunity to get in there and take advantage of a certain trend or movement that's going on at the time. That seems to be targeting their competitors. Hell, even if you want to disbelieve Harmful's read of all this, Sungrand joined the anti-woke, blending into them, infiltrating, if you may say, was more almost seeming as an attempt to take out the competitors, in the case Sweet Baby Inc., so he could replace them with what he claims is better consultation sort of firm. So let's factor that in, using Smash JT again, who I have an example of something that could be considered him targeting Colin. There's many other people in the journalistic online space, both mainstream and alternative, that you can say he's been at odds with. And even if you don't like Kotaku or Second Wind or Colin's PlayStation podcast, he's also done the same for certain individuals on the right, Melanie Mac, Razor Fist, JDA, and what's being called Goonergate. Now, does this match the shilling behavior from his amigo shilling days, where he came to Tommy Tallarico as a critic against the product he was trying to sell? But after talking to him, you know, I'm sure he wasn't swayed by the fancy cars, the attention, the girls, blah, blah, blah. And the more important thing I think to factor in is that he made an investment in this console that, you know, probably would have made him a little bit of money aside from his influencer gig if it hadn't been a scam that got exposed. Not going to do what ifs. Maybe he would have bailed ship even if people believed this shit and he got his pay. But why he was still shilling for it, it was a common occurrence of him attacking the critics of it. It's really not so clear-cut with Sungrand. Maybe there's a method to his madness. Maybe he's a good guy after all, just with schizophrenia and just misunderstood. But the things that are pointed out make it very doubtful, especially given the way he went about shilling for Nintendo and pushing his own agenda, a system that he makes games for. Not going to say good games, but that's besides the point. Just like I'm not going to say with Vera Dark, she has to be a good gamer to, or even engage with the game, to really get that sort of faux gaming journalist title. And it's really interesting how alt media really just assumes that more mainstream journalists.
Too negative, but you are far too positive, and you are being paid to shill directly by these companies.
Like, how does she know this without knowing anything about this guy? Mate, because you listen to him on a podcast, it seems like writing for game reviews or this article seems rather insignificant in comparison to all his other sort of accomplishments. But he could be on the ropes and last stand fucking thing there. And her talking about people being...
People are sick and tired of...
and the sort of educate yourself sort of rhetoric here.
If he actually understood...
I'm seeing just a little bit of overlap in sort of methodology as Sungrand here. Sure, he turned against his audience. Why, she assumes the audience, all gamers, think exactly like her and people in her circles, when that blatantly isn't true. But they could repeat it enough, maybe people will believe it. But you just have to wonder what gives her this sort of a sense of authority that she can speak for all gamers. Sure, she actually plays games. Some people fucking downplay it, but does she actually engage with the games? That's a different matter altogether. I mean, they always use this deflection tactic of, oh, they say she doesn't play games. She plays it on her channel. There's plenty of fucking people who play games online, such as the one Twitch streamer who played games off her fucking ass. Does it mean she should speak for gaming as a whole or a good critic of it at all? No. Yeah, it comes across like the same way Hypnotic does in all his shill talk. Like, how does Hypnotic know this?
Square Enix, I ain't gonna shill, bro. This fucking company took it on the chin because they themselves wanted to. They decided to go down this route.
Oh, he's not like those other Final Fantasy fans who will just shill for that shit. And even if this is true, his whole rant about the involvement of Black Girl Gamer.
They listened to Black Girl fucking Gamers when it came to Forspoken. That's what they listened to. They listened to that organization, Black Girl Gamers, and decided, yep, they're the ones who are going to tell us what our audience is looking for. You guys are out of your freaking mind.
Shows he doesn't do any research into any of this. Given their involvement in the game was concerning gameplay experience and a couple of other really cringe things in my opinion. And this was during a pre-build of the game. Late stages of the game as far as I know, unless they want to redefine what a pre-release build of the game is. And I swear the discourse around Shills isn't that great. No one argues over the definitions, try to really deny it seems. I meant the difference between the talk with Grifter and Shill, labeling discourse online, really seems like night and day in comparison. And the fact that the distinction between the two, Grifter and Shills, don't seem much difference. At least if you look at the traditional definition, which I think we can safely say shouldn't be strictly adhered to it. Because even these guys, I don't know how they use it. In fact, I even went over another example of someone in their circles going shill with someone else. Frankly, that's just gonna bloat the game and really will not contribute anything to this video. Again, I'll link that extended cut for anyone who wants to see it, but given it doesn't really help answer that question that I set out to answer, yeah, I'm gonna have to put a pause on this shit and maybe revisit this later down the line at some point. Maybe try to set up a live stream to discuss this with people of different ideas. Shill versus Grifter, which is worse? How should we define them? Grifter has everyone talking about it. Shill, it's just a buzzword, it seems, to anyone you want to label as sucking up to the corporations. When in reality, they might have some nuance. They might have different opinions. I don't fucking know. We need exact examples and a little bit more fucking research. Unless you just want to use it as an insult or buzzword, whatever you want to do. So anyone interested in doing that, comment or message me. I'm not going to be in a hurry. Those fucking live streams discussing this stuff is something I used to do, and they're a pain to fucking set up, at least at my level. So with that said, I'm out, at least for now.